Welcome back to another EU5 game. I'm playing the nation of Pinya. I decided for the next video, I skipped ahead. I think the last video ended in the 1460s. I created a couple hours worth of content, but it wasn't very interesting. Kind of looking back, I was also recording it late at night, and um, after I got my kids to bed, and I think the volume I was speaking lower than I needed to be, than I can speak to during the day. And I think the video footage just wouldn't lend itself right to YouTube, and it was a lot of nation building. I just came out of the war with Kamada, making them a vassal, and I was just really kind of catching up to my institutions, my tech, building towns everywhere, building temples in those towns to establish a little bit more control. I got things like counting houses, which helps with the crown power. Crown power is now at about 24% now. It was higher than that, but after this past war, in this video, upcoming video, my crown power went down, so I have to kind of build that back up. But once you kind of get above the 25%, you kind of lose all of those debuffs here at the bottom. So I'll work on that on in the next few years as I kind of recover from the war I was just in. So this video starts off almost immediately going into a war with Tibet. I noticed when I was nation building and vassalizing nations in, like my nation over here, I had a nation that and now I have access to the sea, so I can start the colonial game, looking, you know, eastward and westward. Most of this area is colonized already, but I'm hoping maybe Australia is an area of expansion opportunity. Start to see like what's going on um, in the Middle East, potential opportunities to import goods from there to spawn the next institutions into my lands, just because nobody on the map mode have the current institutions, which is the colonials, right? Like the pike and shot. I think the only country I could see as any um, institution growth is right here um, in the Maldives. So, and I don't think I can even import from there. Um, so it was kind of boring, right? It was like building towns, is building buildings that would help with my growth. I built a lot of a big economic base. Started to um, integrate my large vassal here, which is taking some time, just so that I can expand, create more vassals, and keep that whole process going, right? Kind of build more of the towns and temples to the land, so I can continue to exude control. And then as we get further in the game, control is a little bit easier to account for some of the proximity um, with some of the available buildings, right? There's the um, counting houses, there's the bailiffs, which you can build, but bailiffs also give more power to the nobles, so it's kind of a yin and yang, and we always are mindful of the estates and how much power the nobles have and the burghers, the clergy. Um, so it's things that I'm still kind of working on. I was also with the tech. I had standing armies that I can now use, which is upwards of almost 5,000. Still trying to work on the meta on what the right setup is. But when I notice trying to build supply, I build camp followers. So whenever you go into a land, they immediately take like so much attrition. Doesn't matter the size of the, doesn't matter like where they go. They were attritioning everywhere. So like, oh, I'll just build a camp followers. It's easy enough, but you can't build it without copper. So true European fashion, I was like, well, where can I wage war to get the goods that I need? And that's where I saw that Tibet had copper just north of me, and easy enough to capture from some of my vassals, right? And Tibet was always a challenge because they were aligned with the Great Yuan. But when I looked to declare war on them, I noticed that they were not calling in all of their participants, right? When it pretend this is green at the time when I was declaring, and you'll see that in the video in just a few moments. It only said they were going to call in 8 or 9 participants at the time. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're not calling in all of their tributaries, because if you declare on the Great One directly, they have about 82 participants, right? I think they've started to lose some of these folks. Um, when I declared on Tibet, immediately I saw the huge list of participants in the war, and I was at war with 97 countries. So it was like pretty daunting. I'm like, oh, do I have to bird this? Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to beat 97 countries. I don't have 97 troops, and each of these countries are going to have at least 5,000 units, right? So there's just no way I can do it. But I noticed immediately I came in, these were areas of a couple of their tributaries. I was able to siege that down. The other countries were not coming in. Um, so I just kind of sieged down their land here, and within 12 months, there's no castles or anything here, so I was able to siege it all pretty quickly. Um, and they were more than willing to wipe peace, so I was able to get some clay here, and now I have a border with Diviet, right? So it's area of future expansion, um, as I've completed a lot of uh, the nation building. So now I have like area to expand a little bit more, right? So it's like you kind of blob, and then you have to kind of fix your economy, fix the nation a little bit with the right buildings. And then 20, 30 years later, you can go back and start to wage, several wars, right? So once I recover, my manpower is just sort of recovering, making sure that you're not going to have substantial rebel problems, um, annexing vassals. You can only have so many vassals before they all become disloyal, similar to like EU5. So I want to finish annexing them, which is take another 10 years, La Na, I mean, before I continue expansion. But after I siege that land down, I was able to wipe peace Great One. They took them and their 90 something vassals out, and then it was just a 1v1 with me versus Tibet and a couple of the vassals that they have, right? But troops were really not a problem. The real problem is just the Himalayas, right? Like you go to war, they have the ultimate defense. You cannot move from the end of November to the beginning of May, right? So I have troops here, and it just says severe winter, harsh winter, or mild winter. Like you can't. Doesn't I mean it's the mountains, right? Like obviously it's snow. It actually makes more sense than it was in E4, where you can kind of just march, right? You probably just march slower through the mountains, but you physically can't. So the thought I had when I was going through was like, I noticed that the Great One's a paper tiger now. They're no longer the threat that I thought they were, especially as they're going through the mini explosion. Um, but I don't want to really fight Tibet again, right? Like let me create an umbrella, like Lord of the Rings, like you shall not pass. Um, so how can I create a protection on my northern flank? So I sieged some of the land down. Eventually was able to get the agreement that I have. I got the copper that I have. I right now have to figure out how to bring that down to my nation so that I can build the supply units for my army. And I'm still trying to figure out the meta on my army composition. So just wanted to kind of give an overview of the video that you'll see and the gap from the last video to this video as to like what happened. Um, because I don't think anyone wants to watch like 2 or 3 hours worth of just nation building. It's might be interesting for some, but it is quite tedious. Um, and the audio was also an issue too. So um, wanted to kind of give that as a prelude to the video that has a little bit more action in it with the war um, with China and Tibet. So with that, I'll take it away to the video. Thank you. now I have the claim on Tibet, and I'm going to declare war on them. So when you look at it, says I have 9 enemy participants and we are stronger. I don't know if it's because some of these are disloyal or because it's a defensive war and he's not a tribute to the Great One and an ally, then all of his tributes aren't coming in as a defensive war. But I'm going to go ahead and declare, just see how... oh wait, it's still not... oh, cleansing heresy. So I thought the Casus Belli cleansing heresy has already finished, but apparently has not. So we'll wait till that comes back. Build a nobility. I don't think the nobles are going to be happy, but as I wait for that, I want to make sure that I don't go into revolt. So and I'll do in my cabinet positions. I'm just going to crack down on... I feel like this is going to be a long war. Going after China. So these guys, I'll cartel them, so they'll start to decline. And change the side of values. I'll crack down on... rebel crackdown. I'm gonna go for this one just because it's not high, but they're gaining quite a bit. So I just want to make sure that the nobles stay happy, so they're not. Okay, so let's just let this spy network complete. What I'll do is also do this one too, because that Hindu zealots. Okay, so none of them are gaining. Well, none of them are at that point where they're going to come. The nobles are gaining 0.73 a month. See if I can bribe them. Maybe it'll make them a little bit happier. Nothing like a good bribe to make the nobles happy. So they're at 37. But we need a lot of money. Okay, so let's we'll pin that for now. Once I kind of raise my levies. and ready to go to war. So, my balance, economy. Cost of port. I'm not going to need my navy. It doesn't make much of a difference. I'm not going to subsidize the buildings. Mada. Let's improve relations with them. Okay, so spy network's done. Oh, thought it was done. Oh, this one's done. Okay, so now the spy network's done. I am able to now declare no, I don't want SS. Cleansing a heresy. And let's go. Says now there's 10 enemy participants. Pick up another vassal. Whoa. Okay, so that's a lot more than 10. 7, 8. Holy crap. Alright, so okay, so I am at war with 96 countries versus my 6. Okay. Alright, it looks like I can actually take some of these guys. I don't know if maybe I can eventually annex a couple of these smaller guys here. I don't know when China is gonna Yuan is gonna be coming with their huge potential stacks, but we'll see. Only live once, so it's lesson learned. What they say as to who's going to come into the war isn't necessarily. They can call in a lot more than that. Whereas like in EU4, you know exactly which countries you'd be attacking, but apparently it's not. So I'm raising all these troops. It's going to be quite expensive. So let's go to the economy. I don't need diplomats right now. Still gaining diplomats. I'm gonna keep this slow because they potentially have a huge stack of rebels. And let me have them. And my infantry, I can't have a supply with them because I don't have copper, which is kind of one of the reasons why I'm going into this war. So, okay, so let's send them over to there. Let's send half the stack this way with all these little sub-stacks. And we'll just start to go into... We'll just start to go into Tibet to get some of the war score rolling on that. Okay. And we're gaining money. Put that little stack there. And I'm starting to build a ring of forts around me and my vassals that I'm hoping can kind of protect us from China from coming in. Or at least it caused them to have to siege in order to get in. They're not just walking in, sieging a province, and ultimately bleeding my country, ruining my supply behind me. I think I need to do a little bit more research on my standing army, or I just need to just start to improve them because my levies are stronger than them right now. Alright, we're starting to gather here. This is a. It looks like I might be able to separate piece them in a year, which would be nice to kind of swipe some of the vassals from underneath Great Wand. So at least that's my thought. Alright, so they have no morale. That should be a nice stack wipe.
Still no sign of China. And when I say China, I mean the Great One, which is the Mongolian. I can't. Um, okay, I can't climb into there because it's winter time, which I guess makes sense. It's in the mountains. You can't proceed. So that's something that's new. Like that wasn't something that was a factor in. Um, okay. It says it's only a mild winter. I might be able to go into there. What I'll do is I'll break this stack in half and send the other one there. I have to be careful. That I'm not running into a death stack from the Mongols. It's low. Um, where's that? Low. Crack. Alright, so let's severe winter now in February. Um, oh, so I gotta get to here. Can't get to there. So let's just wait till winter, where I can move. Alright, it says I should win that battle. If I can move there, can I move here? Still severe winter. Still severe winter. Okay, so let's keep going. so I think I have a. Oh no, I don't have this one. So they will accept. I just have to wait till September. Thought is that maybe if I can swipe some of their vassals out from under them, I could share this border with Viet. Actually, let me start to build a spy network with them. What about them? Can I also separate peace for them? Yeah, I can get them too. Okay, still winter? Okay, so I can move there. $177, not worried about. 177 troops. Losing a lot to attrition. Not the... Oh, there is something called like create a supply depot. Can I do that over here too? Oh, Alright, so that might actually help. So I just created a supply depot there. So it gives me some money as I'm going in for the siege. Alright, let's just stay here. I don't want them to come into the lands I've already seized, so let's just be mindful of extending ourselves too far. Because I'd love to just get swipe their provinces and then kind of move on. And then the thought is after I'm done integrating them, legitimacy. I can lose legitimacy. They're disloyal. if I build a supply depot here, and I go in, okay, so I'm sieging that down. Okay, so they're starting to get loyal again. Supply of 14. Let's see when this passes. Awful long time to integrate. And they are a big nation. I gave them a lot of provinces. Let me see if I do this. So if I build a supply network before I go in, will they have a running flow of food? They're still suffering from attrition. I'm starting to lose cash now. Again, no sign of the Great One. I don't know why he's not missing out. Can I seize that suit for them for peace? They will accept. You know, I'm just gonna cancel this one because I'm not gaining a lot from diplomats. Okay, so now I've officially taken. Oh shoot! All right, let's retreat. Yuan only has less than 1,000 troops. I can get them out and then they're out of the war. They're kind of like a paper tiger. I was afraid of going after them this whole time. He has like no troops. These probably people are all disloyal to him. But I don't want to extend myself too far, and then coalition is vastly increasing here. So let's. Will they give me money? And war score. I'd rather just out, so I'm not like attritioning myself here. I'm already attritioning myself here with these stacks of rebels. So, alright, so who am I at war with? So that eliminated. I was at war with 96. Now I'm only at war with 9 countries. Well, he'll accept white peace. No, it's Tibet. Of course, Tibet would take white peace. I'm thinking because this is impenetrable land, it would be nice to just have like vassal up here that kind of guards me a little bit. If I just take some clay here to kind of create an umbrella on my nation, because if you can't move past them in for about 5 or 6 months a year, like that's a pretty good fort. That would protect my entire northern flank. And if I want to kind of go back into China, I can. But I need to first siege these provinces down. After I take them, maybe I can kind of take this. Let's start sending these guys back up here. I can kind of start coming up this way. I don't want them to destroy my supply depot, so hopefully I can get to them before. About to have to hunker down for the winter. That was a nice stack wipe. Okay. Alright, so this is actually going a lot better than I thought. When I first declared the war, I was like 96 million, 96 countries. Like they would just have a vassal swarm that comes in, but my guess is they're having a lot of economic issues. If they're not even they didn't even raise their levies, I don't think. Because there's no way they only have 1,000 troops when they have this much land. Now, granted, a lot of that could be. Okay, so that approved. So that makes it. It was in the 14. Still 14. These forts are brutal, though. And once I get another vassal, I will go home. Okay, nice. So I have that. Built a supply there. Doesn't do me much good in part of winter. Okay, so I have that. So now I have to just wait until I'm able to physically move. Alright, they have 5,000 troops right there. Let me improve their opinion. Technically, I could just give the land to a home, and they would have this mountain barrier that they can't pass. Mild winter. Mild winter. Severe winter. Normal winter. Can I go normal? Normal, maybe it's about to end their winter. But let's make sure they don't come from behind me. Alright, let's give, like, what do I need? Sort by just to that I want. But if I take that, it will be protected there. Take that, which is take all of those provinces. They're almost ready. You want this fort, not this fort. This fort. Alright, so 50 leaves them too fractured. Okay. they caught me. They're going there. Keep him here. Let's get him actually to take that one down. They're closing in um, on actually white peace. Just trying to take it slow. I only get 30. So we the more clay we take, I think the better at a castle. I think so. Oh, it is. Alright, let's take that one. Batong. At least I got there before winter. Just because. Alright, so there's not really anything else to do. They seem to be blocked off. We gotta go through another winter. Let's create a supply depot here. Ching Ray. Alright, let's prove opinion here. I took this land too. Then I have like an umbrella across these mountains, and there's no way to pass. I think once I siege all these forts, they'll probably go.
else. Oh, no, I want to make sure I have the province that the whole point of this war was to get the copper. One. Yeah. Okay. So I would get the copper. Um, once I siege these forts down, no reason to go any further. Um, but just kind of wreck my army beyond repair at that point. Okay, so 8. Um, six. Get them. 3. I'd like to get it done before the next harsh wind. Almost there. Forever sieges. Out of here. Crap, it's stuck. want to get them so that I can disband. So, 16. So, vassal, vassal, vassal. Okay, nice. I think that'll wrap up the episode. So, in this episode, we declared war, right? It was a tough war, right? Like, I mean, it was. I declared against Tibet. They had Great Yuan as an ally. They called it all of their vassals. But they themselves seem to be in economic ruin right now. My guess is they're going to start to collapse, as you're seeing. Um, you're seeing their armor kind of slowly deteriorate, similar to what would happen to Ming in EU4. They're not even vassal of the Great Yuan, so they might be having to migrate. You might start to see Clash of Kingdoms here, so something to be mindful of. But I'm gonna get my troops back, and we'll take it from here. I'm gonna do a little bit more research on army composition. Now that I have access to copper, I'm gonna boost that up so that I can supply my troops more substantially. So, thanks everybody for watching.